What if Muzan, the great demon king from Demon Slayer, was actually a demon slayer? Would he go on a rampage killing every demon he counters? Will he ever reach the Hashira level, or will he meet his demise as an amateur demon slayer? Most importantly, how would the story of the Demon Slayer progress if the main antagonist was actually on the protagonist's side? The answers to all these questions are explained in this video with the help of 3 theories. But before we start abruptly with Theory 1, let's have a brief look at Muzan's origin story as a demon. Muzan at a time was actually a human being just like every other human being. But unlike every other human being, he was suffering from a fatal terminal disease that could end his life before his 19th birthday. Belonging to one of the most respectable and rich families in the Demon Slayer anime, the Yubayashiki family, doctors were hired to find a cure to his disease. But all in vain, nothing seemed to work on him. Mad with rage, Muzan one day killed his doctor without realizing that his medicines were not only improving his health, but were also providing him with superhuman strength. As a side effect of an incomplete dosage, Muzan finds himself unable to step out in the sun's presence. He starts his quest to find the blue spider lily, a rare flower that he believed was the main ingredient of his medicine. But the search continued for countless years. In this time span, Muzan comes to know more about his powers, and he unveils that he can even turn some selective human beings into demons by giving them his blood. So, the quest for Blue Spider Lily continues, and Muzan also raises an army for himself with proper ranks. Now comes our what-if situation. What if Muzan, the main antagonist of Demon Slayer, was actually an enemy of the demons? Starting with the first theory, it's in which Muzan does not develop any diseases. Rather, a man belonging to Yorichi's family was infected. For convenience, let's name this evil being Toman. Toman continues to grow his reign as a demon king. Meanwhile, Muzan is blessed with superhuman strength. He encounters a demon on a certain occasion, and he connects all the mysteriously killed people with the demons. Relying on his strength, Muzan easily kills the demon. But he knows he has to build an organization if he wants to put an end to the curse of demons once and for all. The Demon Slayer Corps comes into existence, with Muzan acting as the head. Days pass by, and years later, Muzan comes to know about the nature of these evil beings. He also develops various sword styles, including his own star breathing. In this timeline, star breathing is regarded as the most powerful breathing technique. Anyhow, continuing with the story, when Muzan becomes old, like really old, he encounters the hideous Toman. There he sees that his once beloved friend was the same man who's the root behind all this killing. The same scenes as Yorichi versus his brother, Kukushibu, repeat in this timeline. But the difference is that Muzan is portrayed as the most powerful demon slayer ever facing off against his loved friend. In this encounter, Muzan comes to know of the true objectives of Toman. But due to old bonds, he couldn't kill his friend. Muzan writes a letter to the corpse and shortly after commits suicide due to the fact that he was too weak emotionally to put an end to the barbaric killing. Centuries later, we see the same story, but along with Yorichi, Muzan was the most powerful demon slayer ever. Both of their techniques were passed down for ages. Tanjiro develops the sun breathing. Here, we have the inclusion of one other character, a side character with powers exceeding Tanjiro's. And on certain occasions, he steals the show with his magnificent star breathing. The show continues just like the original timeline, and at the end, with the allied forces of sun breathing and star breathing, the tale of Toman comes to an end. That was an interesting theory, but it was only one of the 3 theories. Theory number 2 is where things get a bit more interesting. Alright, so in this alternate timeline, the story continues just like the previous timeline. But the legendary Muzan doesn't commit suicide. Yes, that's right, this also marks an end to the petty demons far before we reach the original timeline. After his encounter with Toman, Muzan is sad. Sad due to the fact that he couldn't muster enough courage to kill Toman and do what's right. But he doesn't take his own life in his sadness. Rather, he becomes even more desperate. He assembles the Demon Slayer's corpse, tells about Toman's plan to everyone, and goes on a rampage, united with all the Demon Slayers. Toman catches wind of the situation. It becomes more like a now or never situation. He also becomes desperate and assembles all of his demons by his side. The big showdown takes place. Muzan, along with all the Demon Slayers, faces off against the demons. One by one, the demons die, but at the cost of countless lives. At last, it comes down to just MUZAN against Toman. All of the other demons are dead, and as per the other demon slayers, they're also unable to even lift a finger at this stage. MUZAN shows his contemporary and unique star-breathing style against the wretched demon Toman, but his old age hinders his movements. Moreover, he's been fighting for a long time now and is also fatigued. On the other hand, Toman has fully regenerated his wounds. Since he's a demon, he can do this. The clash takes place, Toman facing off against MUZAN. At last, we come to a conclusion. MUZAN is sliced through Toman's neck, and Toman's hands are pierced through MUZAN's heart. The once dear friends die at each other's hands, and the story of Demon Slayer comes to an end. That was quite an emotional ending, but compared to our final theory, it's nothing. In our last theory, MUZAN was the one who got infected. He becomes a demon, continues to spread terror and horror among the land, and the story continues just like the original timeline. But we see a shift from the original timeline when Tanjiro first met with MUZAN at Asakusa, Tokyo, while tracking the source of the disappearance of some humans. However, during this meeting, the encounter between the main protagonist and the main antagonist lasts longer. Tanjiro somehow forces MUZAN to think with a straight mind. He forces the horror of all the people he killed over the course of centuries in his mind. When humans become demons, for some reason, they lose their humanity too. The same is the case with MUZAN. But in centuries, this is the first time he actually thought of the people he killed. He felt their pain, the horror inflicted upon them. After this crucial moment, MUZAN falls to the ground and his humanity returns. He yells to Tanjiro for help, and the lady demon doctor Tamayo comes to the stage. MUZAN is brought back to Tamayo's house, where after a long and much painful process, MUZAN recovers as a human being. He recovers from his prior disease too, which once plagued him as a human being. But MUZAN also loses some of his demonic strength. He still possesses superhuman strengths, but no regeneration and no blood demon art. Lady Tamayo considers sending MUZAN as a disciple in the Demon Slayer's corpse. MUZAN, scared of his horrific and barbaric past, first hesitates. But for the greater good, he accepts the proposal. At this stage, Nezuko also gets treated and returns to her human form. Thanks to MUZAN, Lady Tamayo got the knowledge necessary to turn alive demons back into humans. As far as their age is concerned, they are brought back to the ages when they are first turned into demons. MUZAN also deeply apologizes to Tanjiro, and Tanjiro, being the softy he is, forgives MUZAN with an open heart. MUZAN also goes back to the corpse and meets with Kaguya Ubuyashiki. There, everyone is in deep shock because of two reasons. First, the curse upon the Ubuyashiki family has been lifted, and Kaguya Ubuyashiki, the leader of the Demon Slayer Corps, is in good health. Secondly, everyone is surprised to see MUZAN suddenly changing sides. Of course, they have their doubts at first, but after Tanjiro's appeal, everyone accepts MUZAN's apology. Now the once king of demons and all of the Demon Slayer Corps have a single purpose. Together, these brave people strive to remove the curse of demons once and for all. On the demon side, Upper Moon 1, Kukoshibu takes control of the demon's hierarchy. He is now known as the new Great Demon King, and he strives to hold great discipline among the demons. The responsibility of the life of demons is in his hand, and he gives his all to save his kind from extinction. The story escalates as encounters between the Upper Moon and Demon Slayers start to occur earlier than in the original timeline. Of course, many casualties happen, but with enough courage and strength, Tanjiro, Inosuke, and Zenitsu continue to live on. They progress very swiftly and reach the Hashira's level of strength in no time. Soon enough, we get to see the final showdown, the demons against the Demon Slayers. The fight comes to an end with an obvious victory for the Demon Slayer's corpse. Also, in this timeline, we get to see a really happy ending, as the couples live a happy life afterward. Zenitsu gets married to Nezuko, and talking of MUZAN, he disappears into the shadows after the fight. He knew that the weight of his sins was the highest, and that they can never be forgiven. But with his newly acquired humanity, MUZAN wanders across the land, helping the families he once destroyed as a demon. But what if Nezuko was not turned into a demon by MUZAN? Well, that's the subject of this other cool video. Click on it to see it. Click it.